Starting the morning at Bimthang after a memorable evening. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mountains. That's up the valley. We're going to be heading down valley. Good views down there too. And the snow drifting on the top of Manaslu. The high peak is not on the left, but on the right, I am told, like right there. But it looks completely different than it does from Samagon, which is not surprising. Happens a lot in the mountains. It's normal. The mountain looks completely different. Look at that. I don't even know what the name of that is. I'll have to look it up on the map. So we have determined that that is Peak 29. That is Manaslu. And one of these has to be Manaslu North, we think. But continues all the way around in the Manaslu Massif. Beautiful. So we've stopped for mid-morning tea. I'm just gonna walk over here. That said Yak Karka. My guide told me Karka means like a place where you raise animals. So this is, like originally a farm where they raised yaks. Two things on my mind today. First is the very sad news traveling up and down the Porter network of a death yesterday on the pass, apparently just after I was there, because there was nothing amiss when I was there. Apparently this was a Nepali gentleman. Don't know cause of death. Landslide, fell off a catwalk. No indication of that. Could have been heart attack. But anyway, the up and down the Nepalis are talking about that. Here in Nepal, it seems to me in both the Hindu and Buddhist traditions, they're much more practical about death than we are. Whereas we all know intellectually that we all die, of course, there are some fantasies that echo in the rear of our mind that, there really has to be something completely amiss for someone to die. But anyway, so that's the first thing on my mind today. I'm not quite as fatalistic as either the Hindus or the Buddhists, but the words of John Donne come to mind. No man is an island, and send not to ask for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. So sad news today from the pass. Second thing that has been on my mind today, if you would have told me at 2 a.m. I would be sitting having tea right here, I would have said, no way. Yesterday afternoon, late afternoon, evening, and night, I was suffering from the worst, most acute attack of diarrhea I've ever had in my life. I will spare you the details. But whence the pathogen, you know. The Nepalis, typically drink tea, boiled, obviously, but they will also drink readily from all of the taps or even the hoses that come down, that cross the trail, that just are, sending forth water. And they don't think twice about that. All of the foreign tourists, without exception, to my observation, are treating every drop of water. And I have been doing exactly the same. Not even toothbrushing or anything like that. And when I'm on the AT, PCT, CDT, there are times that I drink wild water. I make an assessment to whether or not I'm going to treat it or not treat it. And I've never really had any ill effects. But so I have three thoughts on this. And the first one is, when I got into the tea house yesterday, I didn't want to wait for my Aquamira, 20 minutes to mix and let it purify the water. I bought a bottle in the tea house of bottled water. The first one that was offered, my guide rejected because it didn't have a label on it. The second one had a label on it, but it was kind of coming off. It was a little dodgy to me because it was only about 2/3 full. So I'm thinking, well, how does this work if it's coming out of a bottling plant, in Kathmandu or something like that? It did have a little wrapper around the, little seal, little plastic seal, but perhaps some enterprising Nepali has just refilled these bottles and is selling them up and down the valley. Second possible source of pathogens is the Asian pit toilets, which range from sort of mildly disgusting to truly abhorrent. For those not familiar, there's typically a tap in the toilet area, in the outhouse, and there's a bucket, a large cistern, that you scoop out some water with a cup, and you flush down the fecal matter. But the floor, it's got to be full of fecal matter, urine. They typically smell pretty bad. And while I've been pretty scrupulous about hand washing, you still have to close the taps after you've washed your hands. You still have to manipulate the clasps and door handles of the outhouse. I would take an Appalachian Trail composting pit toilet or composting toilet over any one of these. But that's a possible source of cross-contamination. And the third one is simply from the food or the plates in the tea houses. So when we were in Dharamsala just before the pass, I watched one of the cooks cleaning the pots, pans, plates, cups, knives, forks, and this was simply done in the stream going by, and they were basically rinsed. No hot water, no soap, and the water in the stream was obviously infused with yak dung, and if we're going to be honest with each other, probably human as well. At some places, I know they have been using soap when they wash in cold water just outside, from one of the public taps, because you can actually taste some of the soap sometimes, like in the tea water, but not always. And whereas most of the food is all cooked, and of course the tea and coffee etc., all reaches a temperature above which pasteurization occurs. When it's put on a plate, or if there's something cold that isn't cooked, like my nightly apple that is peeled and sliced and put on a plate for presentation, that could be a possible source. But given the fact that 2 to 3 hours after I drank this water, the revolution began, that's my first thought. But my guide had some has some medicine, and here I am, a couple hours walking, which 2 a.m. I didn't think was going to be possible.